Hello and welcome to the Pirates Fan Forum here on DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. Whew, so weird to do this without the intro music, Jim. Jim Stamm is with me as always, and James Littleton is joining me. I know it's a cold open because we don't have that music and it sounds weird, but I'm working on it. The music got taken away by the YouTube overlords. Our music that we have had given to us by our esteemed producer, Eddie Provident, way back in the day, has been deemed evil and unsuitable and or taking money out of someone else's pocket by YouTube. So I can no longer use it. I have contracted a couple people to help, but we're not there yet.
Listen, as long as it's none of us three, adding to the artistic melodies, I think we'll be okay. But yeah, it's a little weird coming in this hot. We don't have any baseball foreplay going on. So I hope you guys are ready.
Right. So, hey, today I figured we're going to talk a little bit about, a couple guys that I feel have some decisions coming up quickly. A couple of the Japanese guys are coming up on some of their deadlines. James is back with us because James accurately pushed forward a good idea for how to rebuild this team way back when in the off season when we first had him on, and he had mentioned a few things he wanted to see happen, and the Pirates tried to accommodate him, it seems. So I kind of wanted to get his reaction on that, and then other odds and ends we talked about, right? So let's start with the beginning here, James. You wanted Schwarber, you wanted Suarez, and you wanted Connor Griffin to start on opening day. That was your solution for this Pittsburgh Pirates baseball team. And they tried one of them. They talked about one of them being possible, and the other I haven't heard them do anything on. But what did you think when you saw, like, holy crap, they're actually trying to do one of these things I suggested that Gary and Jim laughed at me about?
Shock. I also had them trading Keller, which it's been talked about, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. So, 0 for 4 so far. But
you fit right into the lineup, James, Jimmy, Jimbo.
Two of those might still happen. Jim Bowden said Suarez could come to the Pirates.
He says a lot of things.
He does say a lot of things. That's another thing we got to talk about. Great segue, James.
I know he's not telling it to his barber.
You're only saying that because it looks like he has a Floby at home.
It was
I apologize, everybody.
It was shock that I thought it'd be a good idea to go for Schwarber, but I never thought that they would actually pony up a $30 million a year offer for him. So
yeah, me either. And we always talk about, like, can't give them credit for trying and until they get something done. We spent a lot of last episode talking about that, Jim. I still feel that way, but I guess the real world application of it was, here's a fan that put forward these expectations that we laughed about. Frankly, we did. We had a good time on that show and we had a lot of fun, and we were intentionally taking big swings. But he put up some good ideas. We laughed about it, like, yeah, boy, that would be great. I wish James was the GM. And then they actually did try one of those big things. Like, to a real fan, that probably does mean something, right? Yeah, they didn't get it done, but they at least tried it.
Well, it's nice to be able to hear them in even being mentioned, which they never ever before this offseason were even in the discussion. A lot of people want to say, well, it was just posturing or whatever. The offer was real. Was he ever going to take it? No, probably not. But, it's hard. It's really hard when you got a lot of these guys that we're talking about. They are used to winning, and they feel that they're going to want to put themselves in the best position to continue to have the best chance at winning. I think that's probably the biggest sell, the toughest sell of all for the Pirates.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been a very quiet stretch this last week for pretty much everybody. There hasn't been anything big going on. We want to talk a little bit about the rest of the league and just some storylines that we're seeing playing out. What is going on with like the bigger names out there like Kyle Tucker and Cody Bellinger? Because like, and even Bregman to a degree, because Bregman, I heard early on like Detroit was kind of pseudo interested, but I haven't heard that since. It's pretty much all like Red Sox. Are you going to meet his price or what? That's the only team I ever hear connected to him. And the Pirates really, and Bichette, any of those would be a fit for the Pirates. Now it just came out that Tucker and Bellinger both want something in the neighborhood of 8 years, 400 million. A lot of money. I understand why we wouldn't expect to win either of those, but why don't they go after somebody like Bregman? Sure, Bregman wants to be on a winner, I'm sure. Or what about Bichette? Clearly, Toronto's having a hard time fitting him in. He's not an optimal shortstop, which is why his market's not as booming as you'd hope it would be. Why don't they get in on somebody like that? I haven't heard. Maybe they are, but I haven't heard them interested in any of those other guys. It felt like it was Schwarber, and then that didn't work out. Let's move on.
I think the thing with I'll just start off with one of the guys you named is with Bregman. I think the issue is teams are looking at him like 32 years old this year, not coming off a great year. I think he was hurt a little bit. Is there going to be some regression there? So if he's looking for that big multi-year deal, I can see why the market maybe for him isn't as great as it could be. Tucker to me is kind of the jewel at this point for everybody. Bellinger, if he wants that many years and that much money, I think he's going to be waiting a little bit. Not that he's not a great baseball player, and not that I wouldn't want him in Pittsburgh. It's just you get a lot of these teams. Maybe they're waiting for this. These Japanese players to let that situation sort out, and then teams and players and agents know where they stand more. It's the only thing I can figure out.
I mean, James, we kind of talked a little bit before the show started about this Bellinger and Tucker, especially. Those two in particular, it feels very much so. And this is just, I'm always constantly looking for rumors. I need topics. You know what I mean? So I want to find as many tidbits as I can. And when I'm looking for like who's in on Bellinger and Tucker and whatnot, I see a list of team names. I don't see any real solid rumors or anything. It feels to me like the whole league is sitting back, almost resigned to the fact that the Dodgers are going to get their pick of those two. And then they get the other one. So why bid? Why bid it up?
Yeah, bidding against yourself or against the Dodgers doesn't make any sense, because if the Dodgers want somebody, they're going to get him. I mean, they have unlimited funds, especially since they signed Ohtani. They said they brought in $700 million just for him in two seasons. I mean, so his contract's already paid for itself. Now they can use that to pay for other things. But I think these guys, especially Bellinger, asking $50 million. If you look at his history, I think a lot of teams will be hesitant to give that much money to somebody who, he has a good season, but then you're going to have to deal with seasons where he has slumps. I mean, that's one reason why he left the Dodgers. I mean, he went straight downhill. Seems to have gotten it back on track mostly, but he does have a couple off or down seasons since then.
It may very well be the price of doing business, Jim. And we should take a break soon, but let's do this real quick. Bellinger for $400 million. You know, I think is he that kind of player? Like, I know he had the slump years and everything with the Dodgers. He had a decent year with the Cubs. He had a decent year with the Yankees. I don't know that he had like, I'm a all-powerful superstar that can demand whatever kind of contract I want season. Do you?
You know, it's funny. We watch these guys from afar, and probably not closely enough, even us, you know. I'm looking at his final numbers, 2025, 29 homers, 272, 5.1 WAR. Slugged 480. OPS of 813. OPS plus of 125. Still a pretty darn good baseball player. Maybe it's just the market kind of pushes your value up whenever there's not a lot out there too. Like he's one of the guys, even though he's not Juan Soto. You know what I mean? Like
sometimes it's not about being the best, it's being the best at the right time. Like the NFL draft next year, Mendoza's probably going to go 1-1, but I don't think that's one of the best quarterbacks that's ever come out of the draft to you. Like, so like to me, I'm kind of like, oh, you are the beneficiary of being the best at this time.
No, look no further than Kenny Pickett. We got to take a break, but look no further than Kenny. He timed that pretty well, didn't he?
Well, we especially better go before James opens his yap about Kenny Pickett. Thanks for opening the door to a West Virginia fan.
Settle down, James.
Let's take that break real quick.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
All right, welcome back to the Pirates Fan Forum here on DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. So we talked about Bellinger. We think that he's probably asking for too much. The market's going to adjust him down, I would imagine, on both years and number. That's crazy.
Well, Josh from Bridge to Bucktober mentions the Boris factor. I wasn't even sure that Boris was still Bellinger's agent, so I didn't mention it. But that's the factor too. Come in with ridiculous ask and see where it goes.
Tucker, I could see pulling a number like that, but Tucker didn't have a real good stretch last year either, did he?
He was
one
hurt.
of the worst hitters in the league down the stretch last year. So I don't know. And he does get injured fairly often, in his history. That's another reason why you might be a little worried about inking a guy like that for 8 years, And I think, these bigger markets can usually afford to do that sort of thing and get away with it. Like they can afford to have the last 4 years of that with him being a cripple. The Pirates can't. So, they probably got to steer clear if those numbers stay up there on those guys, and it'll be too late by the time they got involved anyway. Now, what about Bregman? We talked about him being a little older, but if people are going to fart around and just let Boston kind of wait him out, why not step in? At least make him more expensive for Boston. Why not? What's the big deal? If they want to get you away bad enough, let them swat you by trading an outfielder to you. You leave Bregman alone, we'll trade you one of these outfielders, okay? Back off. What do you think, James?
Go ahead, James.
Well, what I would do if I were the Pirates is I would just talk to some of these agents, especially Bregman's, and just be like, look, what's a number that gets him in Pittsburgh today? And see what they say. Eventually the Pirates are going to have to do something like that to get one of these bigger name free agents. Just tell me what the number is that right now. If they'd done that with Schwarber, maybe they would have gotten a number that he would have come here for. But I think that they let the Phillies find out what the market was and then use that to their advantage and then sweep him off his feet.
Yeah,
but
I'm of the belief there was no winning that Schwarber thing for anybody not named Philadelphia. It felt like he really wanted to be there, and they were going to pretty much give him whatever it took. So I really felt like that was kind of a foregone conclusion. I did allow myself to get excited about it, but I understand why he would.
Yeah, but everybody has a number.
I think that's true, but I think some people have a place in their head too. Like, I think there's a reason that we're not talking about Eugenio Suarez, because I think at the end of the day, I think he's really happy in Seattle, and that's what he'd like to have happen. So I just don't think his camp's out there trying to put feelers out everywhere. That's where the rumors come from. If the agent isn't putting out rumors, the agent probably either knows where you're going or at least knows where the player wants to go. You know what I mean? They're talking to that one team. It makes me feel like everybody else is kind of just like backing off on Eugenio Suarez because they're not necessarily looking to take calls right this second.
Yeah, it's interesting, James, because knowing you and talking to you quite a bit, whether it's here or elsewhere, usually you're very, at least on certain things, is you don't want them to do anything dumb, right? You don't want the Pirates to do anything stupid. But
we'll talk about Luis Robert later.
If you're talking Bregman, for the Pirates to get that kind of thing done, you're probably talking 6 years. You're probably talking $150, $160 million for a guy that'll be 32 in March. Like, I'm a little surprised that you would be okay with that, because typically I'm the opposite. I want them to make moves, and I think you need to pay for them. But that one to me is a little bit. I get nervous about that one.
Yeah. I mean, I get nervous too. But in the past, there was no reason to go for a deal that long because that player wasn't going to make that much of a difference. But now you've got Paul Skeens, who I assume they want to try to keep. And to do that, to have any shot at that, you have to show that you're wanting to put together a good team. And I think if you're going to try to extend Griffin, that helps also. I mean, you want these core players to extend. You have to show that you're going to at least try and sign somebody. It may not work out. I mean, 6 years if he got hurt, would suck. But I mean, they can say, "Hey, we did it to keep you," and that's what we're willing to do.
I guess the way I look at it is like, if I think that Kutch at 38 was a passable DH, what are the chances that I would think Alec Bregman would be a passable DH at 38? I would think it'd be pretty decent. I mean, so for me, it's not that scary. Plus, I'm really trying to live this offseason anyway in the spirit of what this team told me to look for. They told me they were looking for winning in 2026. And to get somebody with a bat with that kind of impact, there's really not an option out there that isn't going to require eating some bad years. Even if it's Dante, even if it's Bo Bichette, I don't know why I always want to call him Dante. Even if it's Bo Bichette.
I have an idea. Gary, you still think it's 1994?
I wish it was 1994. Everything didn't hurt when I woke up in 1994. But
you saw a gleam in your eye in 94.
Well, I saw today in an article that Bichette is now telling teams that he's willing to move to second full time.
Well, good, because all the teams were going to tell him he had to be willing to move to second because he's not a great shortstop. So now, if I'm the Pirates, I'm like, yeah, you can play shortstop for us right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great fit right now, and I don't have to rush Connor because of it. Cool. You know,
now that's an interesting point right there. If you just said, it's like college football, right? You get a kid that wants to play both safety and running back, and all these teams are saying, no, you're a safety, and you're Pitt. Sorry, James, you're Pitt. You come right along and go, yeah, you can play both. Sure, absolutely. Like whatever it takes, right? Like get them in. If shortstop's important to him, and I hear that it is, hey, look who we've played at shortstop.
Yeah. Point being, though, you signed Bichette, you're going to wind up with dead years on the end of that contract too. Like, the point is, if we want the Pirates to swim in these deep waters, we have to accept that there's sharks in it. You know, like the stuff that we're cautioning ourselves about are all the things that we've used to comfort ourselves over the years for why they don't do anything.
I think with the dead years that you're talking about, I think every player that's on none of these long-term deals really work out. Most of them. But you hope that the dead years look something like what Kutch has done the last couple of years and not what Rendon's done the last 4 years.
He was dead from the time the ink dried. Yeah, I
So,
get it.
I mean, but Bichette doesn't, none of the big name guys this year seem like that type of guy. Like you could tell Rendon, even when he was younger, you could tell he was there. He put together the good contract year. And so, I mean, it's just, you're going to have dead years.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I just think like if they're going to take a swing, that's an argument that I don't want to accept anymore. I think they've given us every indication that this is the only year that matters, and I'm just going based on what the price to do business is. Like if it takes an extra year to get something done on a guy that you need, and you're not going to get him otherwise.
Well,
they got to be able to pay to do it.
Let me throw this scenario out to you guys. If you could get Suarez for 2 years and $45 million, would you do that, or would you take all the stuff we just talked about with, say, like a Bregman? What do you think?
I mean, I think Bregman is more of a for sure helper, with the championship pedigree and everything. I really kind of like what he brings to the table a lot more. You're paying for that privilege, though.
Sure.
So, I mean, just the Pirates fan in me says Suarez in that 2-year deal all day long. I mean, like, that's the way to go.
Well,
and to be honest, the power production is just about the same. You'd have more strikeouts, less average, worse glove for sure. Right. But how long's the glove live for Bregman anyway? How many more years can he really play third base? You know what I mean?
James, what do you think? What do you think about that question?
I would even go a little higher for Suarez for 2 years. I mean, 2 years is nothing. If he said no to 245 or 2 for 25, I'd go, or 2 for 20, 2 years for 50. I mean, I would. What do you want? 2 years for 40? How about we go 2 years for 50? I mean, 2 years is nothing.
Is he a better player than Jorge Polanco? Because I think Jorge Polanco was overpaid 2 years, $40 million. And I would have been okay. I would have been okay with the Pirates matching that, mind you. I would have. I would have been okay with them even going a little higher, but that's because Polanco is very versatile. I could have used him in a lot of different places, in a lot of different ways.
Which is why Bellinger's numbers are where they are too. He can still play outfield and first and do a lot of different things for you.
Sure.
I mean, out of the last 5 years, Suarez has had 30 more home runs 4 of those years. I mean, this team doesn't have a 30 home run guy. I mean, so if I have to pay a little extra to get a 30 home run guy, which I don't know if in that park hitting the left, if he'll get to 30, but that power potential is just something this team has in a player or two, but it just didn't come to realization this year, like with Cruz. I mean, Cruz has 30 home run potential, but didn't happen.
Well, what about this scenario? Magically, tomorrow the Pirates trade for Lau and they sign Suarez and they say, we're good, we're done. You live with it?
Yeah. I'd more than live with it. I'd be pretty ecstatic. That'd be like more than I thought.
Could live with it depending on what they have to give up for Lau for 1 season.
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing is like, what are you giving up? Those types of things. I would do it in a heartbeat, but that's me.
I'm just afraid that they get off to a slow start. Then we get into July. Then the rumors start about where Lau's going to go. And then it's a distraction.
I mean,
I just don't
Dennis
like the
Santana
trades
right
for
now,
a 1-year guy. I'm not a fan of the throwing a Band-Aid on the position for a year. I mean, that's just.
I am again, because 2026 is all I care about.
See, this is the old James coming back. This is what I was talking about. This is why I was so shocked.
But
said
this
that
is
about
a
Bregman.
this is a 1-year player. I mean, you're going to have him for 1 year. The other guys, it's what. I mean, you're signing them for a longer deal. So, but Lau, it's for a year, and then
And
you're
I
going to have
think
to try
that
to
I
re-sign
think
him.
that's why I'm okay with it, because again, I only want to win in 2026. That's what I'm shooting for. I don't even know there's going to be a 2027. And I expect 2028 to have a hell of a lot more options on the table as to how I go about building a team. One way or another, we're not going to come out with a worse situation for small markets.
Right. That's
So,
100% true. It might not be a ton different, but it can't be worse.
Yeah, so like part of me is like, yeah, do what you can to make the team better in 2026, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I think Bikes here says extend him. Yeah, I don't think he will. I just don't think he will. I don't think that's what he wants to do.
I don't even think the Pirates would try, because they don't know what's going to happen in the offseason.
Well, I think
any free agents are going to be sitting there for a while.
And the Pirates have some talent coming that's probably going to have to play second base. So I don't know that I want to lock down Brandon Lau forever. You know what I mean?
And to me, it's like getting a rental for a full year rather than the one at the trade deadline. I would pay that price for that. This team can't afford to even think that they'll be in a position at the deadline to be getting rental guys. You got to get there first to be in a position to do it.
I just want to kind of go back on one more thing, like James said, because he's not wrong. Like, you get these 1-year guys, and then right away you're sweating bullets at the trade deadline, or you have to start listening to the rumors right away. Well, let me just paint a different picture for you. This team's out of it at the trade deadline this year. There's going to be bigger conversations than Brandon Lau and where he's going. It'll be O'Neal Cruz discussion time. The calls for Keller will ramp up. And I mean, like, I could paint quite the list of players that would probably be on the block if that was the case, that we weren't thinking of, because that's a team that's about to change their GM and probably manager, and they're going to make some changes. You know what I mean? And I don't think that Ben Cherington would be the one they'd want to do them either. But
I think they're like, are you getting to the point that, like, there's distractions coming one way or the other?
Yeah.
Like,
so I'm saying, like, make lemonade. Do the best you can to win in 2026. Do whatever it is. If that means, like, you're going to eat a dead contract for a couple of years, yeah, it's not the way I'd want to do it either. But, like, it's kind of like what I was saying even on last week's show, Jim. I guess when you kind of just see the window, the consistent performance thing not work out again. The idea of building this self-sustaining unit that kind of like always feeds itself, the Tampa model, if you will, that we've been kind of saying wasn't going to work for 3 or 4 years now. Well, when you ultimately get to where you're going, when you get to the finish line and you look around and you see it didn't work, well, I changed my mind now. Now I want you to go for it and give me a couple good years, because you did bring in enough pieces that I feel good about it. I feel like you've got something worth building on. But by the time you actually build onto it, they'll be gone. So get me this now. Couple years, extend yourself and do it. Give me a shot from this whole thing.
Sure. I think that was always the rub, and I'm sure we've mentioned it before on this show way back in the day, which was the team that wants to build an organization that wants to build this sustainability model and this, always competitive, is actually one of the worst teams at being competitive for decades. And that is a tough switch to flip. And yeah, here we are. So absolutely, I do think it comes down to, to sit and wait. And that's why I would go back to something James said, which is try to get something done with somebody now, early. Let's not wait for the pieces to fall around and then you see what's there. Because then a lot of the time you're standing at the bar and it's 1:50 in the morning and there's nobody really left unless you want, the big girl in the corner. So you might as well try early and get something done.
If you had enough to drink, that's not an issue at all. So I don't even understand what you're talking about. Let's take
18 years in the Navy, Jim.
Plus, we've ignored the real solution here. We can just change the teams that we root for, right, Jim?
Oh.
Let's take a break and come back and talk about the genius advice of Mr. Flobyhead.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Pirates Fan Forum here on DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. So let's start out with talking about Jim Bowden, because he loves to open his yap every once in a while and talk about Pirates fans. But he also likes to talk about small market fans in general, or as he likes to call them, the exact equivalent, competitive teams. Because big markets are competitive teams. You understand? That's the distinction. It's all about want to. We could just change teams, Jim. It would be fine. Just become a Dodgers fan, right?
Yeah. If what was it? If you hate them so much, then become a like. It was such a nonsensical.
You can trade yourself to the Dodgers. That's what he suggested. He's an idiot. What do you guys think? I had a whole show this morning ranting about it for about 10 minutes. It's your turn.
Well, first of all, who goes into a barber shop and asks for the toupee cut?
Ask for the Mark Davis.
Like if that, like, I've seen toupees that look better than what that rat nest he's got on his head. So let's keep it a buck here. But why is it? And you see this a lot and this is rhetorical, by the way. Why is it you see this a lot in baseball, Major League Baseball, and college football? The detest for anybody that's not invited to the party.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, guys, it's not the first time that they were called out either. I mean, like, listen, they're not trying the right way. They're not trying hard enough. They don't, they don't really mean it. Fans go and watch another team. Like, I get it. Like those other teams need somebody to play too. I don't understand why you would want to paint that kind of picture of the league that you're promoting. I mean, you're constantly talking about how it's this great league that makes more money than ever. And then all you have to say is like about like 6 or 7 teams that are good and everybody else sucks. Or other people aren't trying. They're clearly trying. At some point, it's on the players too. The players don't want to go to many of these small market teams. It's a last resort for them. They don't want to go to Kansas City. They don't want to go to Cincinnati. They don't want to go to Pittsburgh. They don't want to go to Baltimore, really, until very recently. And that's because Baltimore has built something that they have tried for about 4 years. That's how long it takes until you're actually taken seriously.
Yeah, even the Rays, that's not a destination. Look what they do. They
Miami.
do it. What's that?
Miami.
Like the Rays have to turn and burn. And players don't want to go there. They're not going to get a big deal there, even though they did give Wander Franco one. That worked out well. But it's just one of those things where it's this mindset of like you're detested if you even want to participate in the thing that's all really set up for the blue bloods, if you want to say it that way, of the sport, and you get backlash for just wanting to participate.
It's a lot. It's almost like this will probably ring true for Mr. Correctional Officer here, but it's when you put somebody through what's supposed to be rehabilitation and then you send them out into the real world and it's basically illegal for anyone to hire them, and then you get pissed that they're not out in society doing anything. Well, nobody will hire them. Nobody's going to rent them an apartment. You know what I mean? You're going to stick them in a halfway house with a bunch of people doing the same stuff they just did to get thrown in jail. How do you expect it to get better? And it's the same way with a lot of these teams. They just don't have the mechanism to really outbid a lot of these guys. And I think that's where I want to steer this conversation, Jim, because what's happening with the Asian market this year might create an opportunity. And I'm talking about a guy like Murakami that his posting date is this Monday, the 22nd. Not a lot of buzz. Don't think he's going to get what he originally wanted. He wanted something like, I think it was 6 years, 150 million. I don't think that's going to happen. He's got some rather alarming numbers. He's got some really exciting numbers. This is not a slam dunk in any way, shape, or form. This is a prospect. That's the best way to put it. This is a 25-year-old prospect. If you think about Japanese baseball, it's the equivalent of really, really good AAA baseball. This is a 25-year-old prospect that has been hammering meatballs basically in the minor leagues for years. He's got some alarming, frightening swing and miss stats. He will not swing outside of the zone. He walks a lot. That's great. But misses in the zone almost 30% of the time. That's scary. He's got some problems with fastballs up above 95, 94, 95. That's going to be an issue here. So it's not like it's a slam dunk, but that's some kind of power. And with that eye, you kind of get some shit, right? You might be able to turn him into something. I don't know if the Pirates have time for that to work. It's going against what I just said about 2026.
Yeah.
2026 matters the most. You certainly don't go out and spend big bucks on a project.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah. Look, even if he comes in on the bottom end of this, you're probably still looking at $100 million to get him signed, when it comes down to it. And there's some real risk. And what if there is an adjustment period for somebody like this? And or even worse, it's not an adjustment period. It's that it's not there to the extent. The more we talk about this, the more I want to give Suarez a call and just say, baby, just hit some dingers, and then I'll get that, and I'll overpay a little bit for Lau and sniff around and see what else is out there, because these types of guys, man, there's not a track record with him.
Well, James, see if you can take the conversation anywhere but death like Jim did.
Well, I mean, we've got, 3 big-time Asian batters up this year? I think there's a Korean guy.
Song, Okamoto, and Murakami are the big ones, yeah.
I mean, I might go worse than Jim. I mean, those leagues are so good. They got Cody Ponce, a 3-year, $30 million deal. I mean...
Yeah, that's a starting pitcher, and it's a little bit easier to measure their stuff without having the competition factor in all that much. Like, you can tell what his pitchers are doing.
Murakami's 26? He's going to be 26 this year. So, I mean, he has seasons where he had that one season where he put up 56 dingers. Pretty consistent in the 20s and 30s other than that. So, I mean,
He's only hit under 30 twice.
I think he was injured a little bit this year, but nothing major. But I wouldn't go a long deal.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at is I think the big teams are going to ignore him. And I don't think they want to take a swing on a guy like that while Bregman's still out there and Suarez is still out there. And there's other options for third base that they could still go after. First base, too, for that matter. Because you could still go O'Hearn or several other players yet before you get to that point. So my thought is with that posting thing coming up on the 22nd, it's too quick. They posted too early. They didn't anticipate what this league was going to look like as far as the free agent board goes by the time that posting fee comes off. And what I'm suggesting here is that it might create an opportunity where the Pirates can kind of swoop in and get a guy way closer to the Jung Ho Gong territory spending-wise than what this guy was expecting. And just to save face, he's kind of got to take a Major League Baseball deal at this point.
Give him a 2-year deal and let him prove it, and maybe he'll go for a bigger deal. And
yeah, maybe. All I'm suggesting is it might be an opportunity, and this is a team that's got to find every one of those that you can possibly take. Song is another guy that is brought up here in the chat. I like him too. It's less of a financial risk. I wouldn't say won't be a financial risk. He does look interesting. The numbers are fine. Korean League is even a step below Japan. So I kind of look at that as AA or bad AAA. And I don't know that you can 100% read 1-to-1. It's more just skills. Pitching, I trust more, again, because you can so scientifically look at pitching metrics and the shape of pitches and the speeds and the mechanics, and you can really look at all that. With hitters, man, you can't. You can go, that guy's got a clean swing, it doesn't have a hitch in it. Boy, that guy's got a nice smooth launch. Boy, he gets legs into it. He really uses his legs. A lot of power there. You can never, ever, ever, without factoring in the competition they're facing, get to this guy can hit. That's the problem. And that's what scares me about these international signings for hitters, because it's such a risk. It really is. So I'm suggesting if you get a chance to do it cheap, that might be a great way for the Pirates to go here.
Yeah, maybe there's some opt-out situation that could come into play with a shorter type of contract. Maybe some safeguards there. I think the big thing is with all the guys we've talked about is there's going to be some risk, and you've got to get it to the point where you're just going to have to, for a team that's so averse to it, they're going to have to take on some risk somewhere.
So let's talk a little bit about baseball in general. The AL East looks like a gauntlet. I mean, does it not look like half the talent in the league is conglomerating in the AL East? I mean, if the Yankees might be the fourth best team in that division. I saw somebody predicting the Red Sox to finish last. And I'm thinking to myself, Red Sox for real? With Crochet and and I'm looking at like what I think they have on their team, and I don't know how you pick them, but who else would you pick? Tampa's got to be your last one, right? Tampa's got to be the one that you pick last. They've got a ton of big pitching coming back from Tommy John this year. They really could take a gigantic step forward, and they're Tampa. Baltimore's really trying. The Blue Jays were just in the World Series and trying. I think they added another stud pitcher. Yankees are kind of just the Yankees still. They're falling, if you ask me. I might pick the Yankees fifth in that division right now.
Ooh.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see when they're going to get Cole back and things of that nature. And pitching staff was hurt a lot, so that was a weird situation. They're still formidable. It's a it's a brutal division. If anybody could be forgiven for not wanting to try, it'd probably be the Rays, because those poor bastards, what they have to deal with, even the Orioles this year. So that is a brutal, absolutely brutal division. And thank God the Pirates are in the NL Central.
Yeah, I mean, it's made such a difference in their playoff history. Like, let's talk about some other divisions, because while the AL East is getting a lot of the traction, the NL East, I think, is kind of stalled. Atlanta Braves are adding, but I'm not sure they're adding the right things, and they seem to be like getting close to moving on from some of that core that kind of took them to good places before, like Ozzy Albies and whatnot. They're talking about Marcelo Zuna, another one that's been rumored to the Pirates that I'm sure most of us don't really want. But they're kind of like not looking like poised to move forward all that much. Sure, they got some pitching coming back and everything, but I don't think enough. I don't think enough to make the Braves a favorite. The Mets haven't impressed me yet. They've done nothing but really subtract the big hitter and sign a couple pitchers. The Phillies kept Schwarber. They're probably going to lose at least a pitcher, if not their starting catcher. I bet they trade Bohm. And they brought in Adolis Garcia. That's not going to help them all that much. So I'm like confused about that division. The Nationals aren't ready. I don't see it in that division. Do you? Somebody's got to win it, obviously.
It's tough. You look at, if you had to pick someone, I think you'd just stick with the Phillies, simply because they're managing to keep it together, but it feels like they're at the end of this, or almost at the end of it, as far as I think their best shots were before not moving forward. So the Marlins always seem to surprise a little bit. They do have some talent, but again, they're not going to be able to spend and compete when it comes to offensively having, what they'll need.
Yeah.
Braves, was that a bad year for the Braves? Are they way better than this, or was this the first of seeing the holes and all that?
I mean, it feels like in baseball, when you try to keep a team together for a long time, it always looks like such a unstoppable thing that you're creating. And then as you get 2, 3, 4 years into it, you start to see the frayed edges. And you start to realize, like, yeah, we probably shouldn't have locked down all these guys, right? We've got a few issues here. I really would like to upgrade, but I'm stuck. I have to have this guy here. I mean, James, I'd rather have that than what the Pirates have, obviously, what the Braves have done. But it does feel like some of those teams in the NL East are coming to an end of their competitive window.
When they started all this, it looked like the Braves were really doing the right thing. Like locking these guys young. They got Albies locked down. They had Riley locked down.
Mm-hmm.
They had Acuna locked down for a super cheap deal that people said he was taking advantage of, and Michael Harris was locked down. And then some injuries and some guys not performing. But I think they'll be back this year. I mean, they signed Yastrzemski. So
if it was Carl,
they've got
Carl,
a nice young catcher. They got, what's it, Baldwin?
Yeah, I guess I'm just a little bit iffy on their starting pitching. Like, I don't feel like they have enough pitching, and they don't do a really good job of keeping it healthy either.
You can't count on
a lot
Sale.
of guys that get hurt a lot. But yeah, I don't know. The AL East is weird. We'll talk about the Centrals last, but let's shift out to the West Coast, because the East Coast, I think, is dominant in the American League. The West Coast is dominant in the National League. The Dodgers, The Padres, I thought were going to start trying to shed salary, Jim, but it feels to me like now they're maybe like backing off on a little bit of that, or they're stuck with what they have.
That's been a weird thing to follow, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It looked like the writing was on the wall, and then the whole ownership thing, and now they seem to be like, no, these people are untouchable, and we're still going to add.
Well, they're in on guys that we're talking about the Pirates being in on.
Mhm.
Like they're talking about spending again, so it can't be that bad, I guess.
No.
Some of the numbers I've heard coming out of San Diego, how much in debt they are. If they're true, I mean, which we don't, when it comes to numbers for a major league team, we really don't know, except for like the Braves, I think, because they have to release. But
I'm pretty
I mean,
sure they're
it's-
true, if only because their owner that passed away alluded to this being the fact of what was going on
it's
anyway.
scary
Yeah.
how much money that they're in debt. And I mean, most of these deals don't end anytime soon.
And Yu Darvish refuses to retire. Like, he may not even be able to recover and come back and pitch this year, but he still wants to keep the door open and recover, even if he doesn't come back and pitch, which means they have to keep the money on the books as part of the payroll, right? It's a mess. The Giants, I think, are on the come up a little bit. I kind of like the team they're starting to put together. Nice young pitching staff building. Got some hitters. I don't think they're going to swing and miss on all the Asian players.
I still think they
never do.
need some more pitching, some more starting pitching
Probably.
to really challenge the Dodgers. I mean, because the Dodgers seems less like to sleepwalk through the regular season. They know they're going to win 90 games, 95 games just by showing up. I mean,
Right.
except when they play Pittsburgh. Some reason they just
Feels
don't
like
do well.
everybody else in the NL West is just an also ran. I don't believe in the Diamondbacks. I believe the Diamondbacks don't want to admit that World Series was their one and done, but it is. And they're going to end up either holding on to a bunch of these players like Ketel Marte and all the other players and just slowly fade away, or they're going to have a resurgent year. I don't see the pitching. I don't see the hitting. I just don't see the Diamondbacks as a real threat. They're a 500 team all day and night, just like they were in their World Series year.
Well,
I mean, really, nothing's changed.
It's funny, you look at the Diamondbacks and man, they got some pieces. It tells you how hard it is to win.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and because I think we would, in some way, shape, or form, love to be in their position, or had been in their position, and the Corbin Carrolls of the world, and the Martes, and they had Gallen and some really good complementary pieces, and yet here we are, and we're talking about, can they even be in the thick of things down the stretch this year? So it's a man. It makes you realize as a Pirate fan how steep that hill is to climb.
And we don't even need to talk about the Rockies. They barely exist. Let's talk about the AL West. We got Seattle. Houston's taking a step back, right? I mean, or should we just expect they're still in it? And Texas is good every other year. I mean, like, they're talking about having money problems too, but I don't think they're going to suffer all that much from losing Garcia, and I don't think they're trading Corey Seager either. Even though we talked about it last week, but it looks like they've pulled back on that now. Feels to me like they've got as good a chance to win that division as anybody.
That's always a weird little division too.
Yeah, because you got the Angels. You never know what's going to happen there either.
Yeah, well, but Seattle, that's the funny thing about a lot of the teams we're talking about, and this is why baseball's so dumb. It's you've got all these teams that are like, can build off of things, and yet they might be talking about reducing salary, limitations to what their budget is. Texas, Arizona, San Diego kind of doesn't know what they're doing. So yeah, I mean, it's very hard to project some of these teams.
All right, so the AL Central, nobody's trying. The Twins definitely want to lose. They just hired Shelton. So, but I mean, no, but honestly, they've traded what 60% of their team last year at the deadline. They've decided they're keeping their stars. They're keeping Ryan and Buxton and who's Royce Lewis, right? So they're keeping those guys. Yay. I think they have a terrible team. The White Sox aren't ready to compete. Not really. I mean, they just took 3 guys in the Rule 5 draft. And, yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see that at all. Somebody's got to win that division. I would imagine it's the Tigers, right? They're not going to trade Skubal.
By default. I mean,
Tigers and the Guardians. But the Guardians taking a step back, I think.
Yeah, they seem to do a good job organizationally, though, of like keeping things afloat. Tigers are in a real interesting position, clearly, right? Being in that spot with Skubal at this point,
bro. I, in all sincerity, put up a for sale sign on the building. If you're trading Skubal in a year when your division looks the way it looks, and you've got Trek Skubal. Sorry, and I'll say the same thing with the Pirates. Get there with Paul Skeens, and it's the last year of his control, and they have a chance to win. I don't really care what I can get back either. You know, I mean, I'm kind of done playing that game, for real. You're not going to be perpetually good, so give me the best you can give me when you can give it to me. And your trades blow. All these teams, they all blow for the most part. You don't get what you want out of them. You really don't. Yeah. And like I just 9 times out of 10, you're just going to lose a player. That's all. And I just think that it stinks. That I think the AL Central, worst division in baseball, followed closely by our next contestant and the last one, which is the
NL Central,
the good old NL Central. So it seems to me like Milwaukee is going to probably be the front runner again. Doesn't look like they're going to trade Peralta. So it feels to me like they're probably pretty well set to compete again. Woodward's coming back. Mizorowski. Their rotation should be pretty decent. Probably add a few bullpen pieces on. I was a little shocked by that Isaac Collins trade. I don't really understand what that for a lefty reliever, but so be it. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Well, that's another team we talking about finances, right? It's like, here we go again. You know, you got the Cubs, maybe. I don't know, but they're not being super active right now.
They're not spending either, right? Yeah, and who knows what they're even interested in? I haven't heard them rumored in anything. Like,
I think the Japanese pitcher, I heard that they kind of hot for. But yeah, the whole Bikes is right. The whole NL Central has kind of slogged around here. Well,
the Cardinals aren't even looking to add. I mean, they're looking to like tear down more. Like I think they've got 3 or 4, maybe even 5 guys that they might trade yet. Mm-hmm. And they would love to trade Wilson Contreras. I know that for a fact, but I don't think anybody wants him. Arenado won't go anywhere, you know, and they've got 3 other players that are actually good players: Gorman, Nootbaar, and Donovan. And I guarantee they don't want to trade all 3 of them. They're just open to trade all 3 of them. That's all.
Right.
So I'm not a big fan of this division either. But at least I feel like Milwaukee's still like a clear-cut good team. The Reds were just in the playoffs. They're not taking anything away from their team. They should still be like right in that conversation, right? And
I saw some rumors, and I don't know how accurate they are, but that they wouldn't say no to trading Hunter Green. if they got the right deal. I can't see it.
That's since changed. They're not interested in trading him now. And I just had a whole crossover with Locked On Reds this week. No way. They're out on that. They're out on trading Lodolo. They don't want to trade any of them now. The only one I think they'd be interested in is Singer, and that's because this is last year. But I think even that one, probably not. The Reds, the funny thing is, like Mike says, the Reds' young hitters could improve. Well, I thought so too. But boy, the Reds fans don't think so. If you listen to the Reds fans talk, you would think they just had the season the Pirates just had. Like as far as their hitters go,
I can assure them they didn't.
Well, I'm just telling you, like
no, but we've had that on him on before, I think, and last year they were quite upset, even with Green. So fan bases are funny. The more you go around baseball, the more you realize is, boy, do we run a dumb system, because there's a lot of teams that we are talking about the Reds and moving Green, and the Tigers maybe trading Skubal, and teams that are in a good position that can't or won't add. It's like,
well, there's a reason that we
doing?
did this look around the league right now, because it's just before Christmas, and everybody that needs players this offseason is panicking about what their team hasn't done yet. And we just went around, and I don't think we came up with enough playoff teams to fill out the bracket. So clearly there's going to be some teams that take advantage. And I guess the hope is here that the Pirates can be one of them. That's the point, right? Go out and do something and make it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, end this show, James.
Go ahead, James.
I mean, when Scott Boras is saying the Pirates are being aggressive, I mean, that tells me something, because he never has anything good to say about the Pirates. And
That's
so
true.
that caught my attention when he said that, because he could care less if the Pirates and the Marlins and the A's were just completely taken out of the league. I mean, just because they haven't spent in the past. And he said that they are being aggressive. So I'll take that as a serious comment from Satan himself.
Let me throw this scenario out, Gary. You mentioned the name. We didn't talk about him. Maybe we should have a little bit. Both of you. Marcell Ozuna, 2 years, $27 million. Yes or no?
No. I don't want him.
For another domestic violence, I mean, I think the Pirates fans have had enough of that.
Just saying.
Yeah, I just don't want him.
2 years ago,
35.
40 home runs. The year before that, 41. He was still a 7-something OPS guy last year, even when he was hurt.
I'd rather try to trade for Jorge Soler. Looks like he's available. I'd rather have him. Marcell Ozuna, honestly, he did start to fall off last year a little bit.
He had a hip. He had a bad hip last year. So yeah.
Year before that.
What's that?
Before that, he was like a little under 800 OPS. Good hitter. Yeah,
I mean, he hit 40 home runs the year before that.
Right. He had an OPS a little under 800, because that's all he does is hit home runs. But I mean, I certainly wouldn't hate to have the bat. I just think until there's not better options, I'm going to keep saying no to him, because I just find him an off-putting human being. And I think he's coming to the end, too. I do think things are starting to slow down for him as far as bat speed goes. Just didn't see as much raw power out of him this year, even when he did make contact. You talk about the hip. You talk about the hip, but at that age, personal experience, too, the hip ain't going to get a lot better.
Probably not. I will say this: last year, 756 OPS, 2024, 925 OPS, 2023, 905 OPS. There's some value there. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's a DH.
Of
100%.
Of course.
Right. And as I told you last week, they will be re-signing Andrew McCutchen.
Well, that's another conversation for another day then.
It
isn't it?
sure is. James, thanks for joining us, even if you drove our commenters crazy with your sniffling. I appreciate you being here and fighting through your cold. Not everybody can
I
understand
apologize,
that.
everybody. Just a little under the weather.
Hey, dude, you showed up. Get better. Don't be sick for Christmas.
Yeah, try not to be.
I hope
Good.
not.
Good stuff. Hey, guys, no episode next week. We're going to take Christmas off. I think that's a nice thing to do. It'll give me plenty of time to get some music back up in the front of this show. And don't forget that you can submit your new ending for the show. I'm still going with Krampus Queen this week.
Yes, but we'll need something new after Christmas.
Right. All right, everybody. Talk to you later. Let's go Bucks.
See you guys.
Let's go, Bucks!